Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the BBC, the Bordweall Broadcasting Company. We have a number of threads we're going to discuss and chat about today and everything, and I want to welcome our guests, Noslim and Renegade. Go ahead, introduce yourself, guys.
Hi, I'm Noslim, and hi to the 12 people that we have watching today. That's like a new record. We're doubling down. It's more than our usual 6, so we're proud to have you. Thanks for joining.
Hey, we're up to 21 already, 22. There.
Hi, I'm Renegade. I have a new computer now. I'm sorry, I'm just really excited about that. That was it. That was my introduction.
And you got fingerless gloves. You're in Wisconsin, right? Is it cold there?
It's freezing. It's so cold. It's just part of the dress. That's how they make clothes in Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
Thank you for calling me out where I live, though. It's chill.
No worries at all. So we got a number of threads that we want to chat and discuss about. I think what we will do is let's actually have you, Ren, lead off with Caspian's thread about the shiny that was put out.
Okay, so I'm gonna just read it as soon as I move all of these things off the top of it because I put way too many things on my screen. Caspian posts this picture about the scary lizard thing. He's like, "Hi everybody, the studios finished up an internal milestone for Chronicles of Elyria this week. And as of the result, Snipe, Vi, and the rest of the leadership team have made an extended review meeting yesterday evening. The meeting was looking over the quality and scope of deliverables for our internal milestone with a fine-tooth comb. And as such, none of them were available to write up as a shiny. But I want to take a quick moment to show you something that came across the art desk this week. During our Kickstart anniversary last year, we introduced the basilisk mount for the wetlands, swamp, and tropical rainforest. These basilisks make exceptional mounts in these biomes due to their ability to walk on water over short distances. You can see one in the concept art below. And he gave us a second picture, I believe, is what it was that he did.
Yep.
And
he can put that up right now.
yeah, so this was one of the things that we could buy. I thought it was immensely creepy, but I know a lot of people thought it was really cool. So it was just kind of him touching on this mount again. And that was our shiny, was here, look at the thing that we'd seen before. I'm hoping that the fact that he touched on it meant that maybe they had the rendering assets done, but we didn't see that. We saw some weird crocodile thing instead. But yeah, no, this was the water walking mount that's super creepy and looks like it's got way too long of fingers. That's just my opinion on it.
Is anyone calling this the Jesus lizard yet? Because they should, if it walks on water.
They definitely should.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's referred to like that in real life as well. You know, there was some pushback on that thread, which was kind of like, oh my God, you know, you're showing concept art. And I actually responded to that by saying, well, you know, that's what shinies are in part meant to be about. They're meant to kind of like, you know, introduce lore, concept art, you know, any game mechanics, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And so I didn't have a problem with them, you know, showing this in as concept art. I mean, there was you know, unfortunately an excuse kind of like almost like usual, you know, because they're reviewing or they're doing this or they're doing that. And for me, the issue was more, you know, how to phrase it without kind of like, I don't want to sound like, you know, too much of a Debbie Downer, but for 3.5 years, I think they should be at least interspersing stuff with something a little bit more impactful to us, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. I think they're just reluctant to show actual game assets and not concept art because usually the first time you show communities that kind of stuff, you get massively bad feedback. And even look at like the stuff that Snipe did, like we tore into it immediately as soon as it got posted, even though it was showing progress. And it was them showing progress, but it was unfinished. So we immediately got upset about it. So they're very reluctant to show us new things now. So we get concept art instead. We expect weekly updates.
Supposedly new things are coming, but we've been saying that for 3 years. So I soon registered trademark, hashtag copyright, all that good stuff. No, I don't think there's anything that they could say or anything that they could do or anything that they could put out at this point that's not going to get a community backlash short of playable content, right? So I don't know, and there's rumors that we're going to get that soon, so we'll see.
What?
No,
No. You can't just say that stuff and walk on. You're like, nah, that's it.
This year, right?
Oh,
Like,
okay.
This year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this year, that's substantial. It's going to happen this year. Yeah, I remember saying, "Fucking, it's going to happen in 6 months. It's going to happen in a year." 2 years ago, right? So, and there's people that are probably not watching this right now, but they know me and they've heard the same spiel, right? 6 months, we're going to have playable content. That was 2.5 years ago, right? Not happening.
All right.
Anyways, that went
moving
We'll
on.
see. Fingers crossed.
Moving on. Noz, why don't you take the next section on the thread that you were
Since I'm being an asshole, just go ahead and talk about what I wanted to talk about. Yeah. So what we were talking about the thread, and I think you mentioned it in the beautiful painting, that the little watercolor art picture that you do every 2 weeks. I think what was the title of that? It was the things upcoming in 2020. Was that
Yep.
it? Substantial changes in 2020. Major updates. What was that clickbait title?
It was major development changes being considered for 2020.
Oh yeah, that was such clickbait, wasn't it? No, and there's some truth to it, right? Because when Caspian comes in Discord and says, I'm gonna change the programming language that we're using for COE, like, how do you not expect that to raise alarm bells, especially with laymen? The
nobody knows what that means.
That people that are not IT wizards.
I work in IT, and I don't know what that means.
Right? So how do you just like casually roll that into Discord and not expect people to fucking freak out? Well, they did freak out, and that was one of the most popular threads in the last 2 weeks. Was that clickbait title. I think Alex got some pictures for me. I think Maravek, on the first page of the first responses, it hit it right on the head for me. The thread, and it's still going. It's still going right now. The thread got such a huge response, but very early on the first couple of responses, Maravik said, "And too long, didn't read version was, I have no idea what's actually going on, where they are in the overall dev timeline, what is done and what isn't, etc. In other words, I feel like I know less about COE's development than I did 2 years ago. Hopefully that changes soon." Beautiful. I agree 100 and 1,000% with that sentiment. I'm 100% on board with that. And that's the problem, right? We don't know what's going on, and all we know is we've got Caspian coming in the Discord saying we're going to change the programming language that we're using on everything. Well, that's not good, right?
How much rework does that involve? Like, I think people would have been more comfortable if they would have given us an idea of what amount of rework that was. Like, is that you have like 200 man days of work, or like
other than the initial shock of that happening in Discord, I think the next image that I clipped was saying the OP here is not really been known for being supportive of COE historically, and in MMORPG.com, that's his world. He's got like 40,000 posts over there bashing everything that SBS has ever done from its creation, pretty much. So, but that still doesn't detract from what happened, right? And what was said in Discord and what caused the confusion, right? So there are things that were said that caused confusion in the community and caused them to kind of panic a little bit and say, "Hey, are we only? I mean, are we at a point in development where we've only done so little that it's not going to hurt for us to rewrite the code on it, or or is rewriting the code not that big a deal? Like, you can't just say we're throwing it out and we're going back to the drawing board rewriting the code for everything without giving a little bit of information on that to calm those fears, right? But so Sang did mention that, hey, this guy's a troll, which he is. I think Sang even admitted he's a troll too. But so they're both trolls. But the OP for this thread has never done anything ever good for this community, right? So point that out. And the next thing that I took away from that thread was the actual troll himself from MMORPG. And I even drew little squiggly lines on this point. If Alec would throw that up, and I even drew on there in little red crayon for you, Ren, so you would appreciate that.
You.
Yes. So I agreed with with this point, right? And so he said that these other games have all faced sharp criticism, but they shrug it off and they focus on what's important, and they get stuff done, understanding trolls are going to be trolls. But in this case, he points out that instead Caspian and the studio have largely ignored everyone, even labeling previous supporters as almost enemies of the state. Now, I know that's happened for a fact,
No,
which
really?
I feel is an ill-conceived and risky tactic, considering it's their support which kept the dream alive these past 4 years. We can throw that away now, but he did have one point that I agree with quite considerably. I when I read that, I was like, this dude is on point. I may not agree with anything else he says because his intentions are in the wrong place, but this shit right here is on point, right? I couldn't disagree with that. Not one bit. But I think it's important to understand that the real reason why this thread got so much popularity, it got so much activity over the last couple of weeks, is because of another post and that same thread. It kind of summarizes it. When you talk about some of the things that were, if you look at some of the stuff that was posted on the original Kickstarter, when will the game release? It's going to release alpha beta. Right now we're aiming for December 2017, right? And at that point, it had mentioned during the Kickstarter that we have an established team of 16 people that has been working on this. We anticipate it to be released in December 2017. So we're way off from what we initially thought when we got involved with this project. I mean, that's safe to say. And when we're that far off and we're still supporting it, and then the boss, the creator, comes in and says we're throwing all this shit out and we're reprogramming everything, that's gonna freak some people out. It's going to, right?
With that, like when they did the planning, Caspian planned how long it actually takes to do the development, but the development time on a project is usually like 25% of the actual time spent on a project, and people don't understand that. So the front loading is like 75% of planning, requirements, organizing, all of that kind of stuff in a project, and then like the last 25% is your actual build and testing and all of that. And so I think when he did that timetable, he just took that last 25% and just kind of started from there. And that was what 2017 might have been. And then when he
I don't know. I mean, I don't know where he got his figures from, but something went wrong. Something went terribly wrong. We're
Nobody
three.
makes an MMO in 2 years.
No. But for me coming in, I'll be honest. I was under the impression that they were further along than what they were.
Well,
And so,
yeah,
maybe
I
I'm an
can
idiot.
kind of interject here. Alex, I'll throw you a curveball here. I put an image in the media for current show. If you can put that image up, please. And this folks is an image that basically I used to show back in 2017 to people. Thank you, Alex. Perfect. And people were always asking, "Oh, where are we at development? Where are we at in development?" And you can see this is a post that Caspian made September the 20th, 2016, right? So almost 3.5 years ago now. And he showed us, the little bit we are here is where that was actually what I had put in, okay? And it shows that we still didn't have it, but the website 3.0 was going to be worked on. And to me, it's like where concern, I guess, for want of a better word, starts to creep in is when you look at that. Now, this doesn't really have any dates on it, but it's more of a chronicle order that things are meant to occur in. Well, the IP store above that arrow never actually opened. Website version 3.0 never, we're still waiting for that 3.5 years later. And then domain and settlement selection via the website is kind of half done, right? But it's not really done because we're still waiting for Settlers of Elyria to be done, which will finish off domain and settlement selection. So when I look at this and how much progress we've made since this was posted 3.5 years ago, and I will say that, I'm not trying to discount the fact that they've been working on other things, etc., and that other things haven't been worked on in the meantime. But when I look at it, we really haven't progressed anywhere from 3.5 years ago. And then when I hear that, and by the way, we're looking at recoding. And again, I'm not a dev, I'm not a coder. I'll be the first to admit I'm very ignorant on that. But it's kind of like, oh shit, because each time they say that, it's like, yes, but don't worry, guys. We found a better and quicker way to do it. And it's like, when I look at all the times they've said that things are going to be quicker and better and it's going to streamline stuff, and then I look at that image and how much actual progress has been made, at least measurable progress, right? In 3.5 years, it's like, ooh, wow, I find it painful.
Yeah,
this am I alone on that? Am I out of whack on that?
No, you're not. And this is the controversial post, right? And of course you give it to me, you assholes.
You picked it.
Oh, don't throw me under the bus like that.
You wouldn't let me be the mean one today. So yeah, you get under the bus.
So no, but yeah, we can get off on a tangent on this. And that's not what we're trying to do, folks. What we're trying to do is we're trying to show you this was the popular post of the last couple of weeks, or this was the popular content. I think that it's just us bringing it to your attention. If you've missed it, if you've been living under a rock and you only check our stream, bless you. You're you're a diamond in the rough, and we appreciate you. But no, the last one I had to close this out was Levy. The rest of the thread is just dumb. People arguing just for the sake of arguing, and people talking about tech terms that I kind of understand, but most people don't. And for me, that's why I talk so stupid, partly because I'm not very intelligent, and and two, because when you are intelligent and you do understand very high technical things, which I do because that's my field of work. I'm in IT, but it's not polite to talk in those heavy technical terms to people that don't understand them, because you're just talking over their head and they don't understand you. But what Levy said in this last snippet that I grabbed here was It's threads like this that are going to force. I had to scream at my kids, so bear with me. It's threads like this that are going to force him and the other devs to only interact with the community through a PR filter, and nobody wants. Really? Are you sure about that? Like,
devs are not. There's a reason there's such a thing as like a business analyst, which is the person that talks to the technical and then the non-technical. And they're a filter. There's a reason that role exists.
yeah,
in
okay.
IT.
I'm done with that image. That's the only thing I got out of that, right? You can get rid of that, Alec. But are we sure about that?
And
Are we sure we don't want everything going through a PR filter at this point? I mean,
I
I'll
think
talk
they
out the
have
side of
to.
my mouth there.
Yeah.
But nobody wants that. Are we sure about that? Are we sure? I don't know. What do you think?
I know usually putting your technical people in front of your client is not necessarily something you should do.
Because
that's a Dilbert moment, right?
It's
the whole purpose for this thread was the client freaking out, thinking we had to. I don't know.
Yeah, and then here's my point. I think with the milestone list that Dee showed is those milestones, while we're not achieving them, also don't connect to anything. Like we don't understand what that means in relationship to the development of the game. Like the website's up. Okay, what does that mean in relationship to the game? Do you have the interactions coded, or the models rigged, or the assets purchased, or what do these things mean? These milestones don't link to anything. So it's additionally confusing when we reach one.
Yeah, I agree with Finn. Finn is saying, bottom line, we know absolutely nothing. We have no information, no real facts, no updates, no exposure, literally nothing. Everything is speculation, good and bad. And Finn has been chatting quite a bit, and I agree with a lot of his points there. And so, early on in the game's development, people were speculating about shit, and it was cool to see that speculation, right? It was cool to see those people theory crafting about different ideas that may or may not ever come to fruition. But and I didn't really get heavily involved in that because I didn't want to weigh in on certain things, right? So as a leader in the community, I don't want to discourage anyone from pursuing a different I want to race horses. Well, I'm not going to say that's not going to be a thing. It probably will be a thing. And so you focus on that, right? And I didn't want to discourage anyone's creativity. But at this point, like, we're not even speculating about that anymore. We're speculating about core game development and where we are in that. And are we really where they say they are? All trust is gone. So we got to fix that.
Yeah.
Alex,
Alex,
move on to a new topic.
Yeah. I saw you put up the link there for our Patreon. If you can actually put up the image of our sponsors, I just want to plug for a quick 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and say thank you to our sponsors that are helping, support and keep this live stream going. We basically, if you were to look at the website today, other than our thread announcing the BBC today, there's only been one comment that was in the public forums, and that was at 5:30 a.m. this morning. So even traffic on the website is slowing down tremendously within the community. We currently, we used to have a couple of dozen sponsors. We're down to 5 stalwart sponsors still kind of like sponsoring us. That's Michael, Kitney, Spelsinger, Melissa, and Countess Gladwin. If anybody is interested in helping sponsor and keep our show going and pay for some of the software and some of the other stuff that we utilize to produce this show, it would be great. You can take that down now, Alex. Thank you for putting that up. I just wanted to kind of like say thank you to those people. Let us move.
You have to mention that if people want us to continue doing this, there is a financial aspect of it. It's not much, but some of the software that we use to create our images and stuff, it does have costs and whatnot. So we are producing consistent content, and we're here every 2 weeks, whether you like us or not. So if you do like us and you like what we're doing and want to see more of it, throw D a couple dollars. He'd appreciate it.
Yep. Yep. All righty. So we have 2 or 3 things left. Let's move on to the meat of the show, and let's address. We've got a couple of cool things for later, a couple of fun things for later. But let's, Alex, if you can put up the one about the Settlers of Elyria update. If we start off with Ash Kane's actual post in there. And so basically we got an update that in a way wasn't an update because we kind of knew that, that they're working and fixing on the bugs and everything like that. Today is actually exactly to the day, the 2-month anniversary of when they launched Settlers of Elyria, and it lasted for, I think it worked for about 20 minutes. A few people were lucky enough to snipe their domains, and then it kind of like, all unraveled. And 2 months later, we're still here waiting patiently for this.
I wouldn't call it lucky, but yeah.
Persistent.
Yeah.
I managed to get my purchase in. I don't feel lucky. I'm kind of scratching my head here, wondering why. But
Yep.
I was fortunate to get it in.
General response to kind of like the map has been very positive. I mean, that post alone received 84 likes. And again, I'm kind of like going to play the skeptic here, but you're going to need to kind of like bear with me and hear me out all the way to the end so that you understand my reasoning behind this. Alex, if you can put up the next image in that sequence. Basically what we have here is we have a picture of a duchy that was in that new image, and this is how it looked originally with their with kind of like, with their fantasy style icons that Algorithm put into place. And it kind of like it gave a fairly good idea of where it's going to go. In a moment, Alex is going to put up the next image, which shows the newer version of it. The water is actually very, very accurately done. And I really like that. But here now you start to get a very, very good impression of kind of like the topography and the terrain and the relative heights of, the different, masses of land. Like it definitely seems in that bottom right-hand corner, just from the shade and the shadow, that mountain there is taller than, for example, the one that's just to the top left of it, and which is in turn lower than the one that is to the left of that and above it. So what this does, and remember that what we're seeing here is we are seeing this on a duchy level. So it's still going to be zoomable by 2 more levels on the map. You would then be able to click and look inside the duchy and then see the 24 counties within each duchy. And then you'll be able to click on an individual county. So I think that we're going to be able to see a really kind of like a fairly zoomed up version of what we're looking at here. And so this kind of like for me is, if you can put up the next image there, Alex, we'll go on. This kind of like for me is, I like, let me phrase it this way. I like the change. I like the fact that, that we're getting a better vision, that we're seeing what is happening here. I don't know if when the actual map comes out that we will be able to toggle the icons on and off for settlements, or toggle on and off for vegetation, or things like that, like they actually have on the map right now, right? They will have had to have, they don't need icons for the mountains anymore because those are done. But if you look at this, what I started doing is I started zooming in Photoshop to where you can kind of like almost narrow down to the pixel what color is going to be in your particular parcel of land, okay? If you can go to the next image, please, Alex. Now, there's no way that if you were to be looking at this next image, and I've zoomed it in on the same zoom, and you look where the mountains are, you can't really tell from this map whether the actual peak of a mountain is going to be in a certain place. In fact, you know, those nice horseshoe valleys that you saw in the topographical thing, images that we've shown so far, excuse me, these don't show up here, right? I mean, you've got trees that, again, from a, which to me is fine from a fantasy perspective, are like, you know, freaking, you know, 20 freaking parcels tall at the moment here, which isn't going to be the case in actual game. And so the new map that we're going to be getting is a map that we had actually asked for. Many of us had said, hey, can we get those new maps, you know, when the domain and settlement selection map comes out, can we have it, you know, with the kind of like, you know, a better version of what we had when we originally did the map voting, right?
Yeah.
And they were very adamant. They were incredibly adamant that no, we don't want you to have a kind of like a Google style satellite map that will show you everything, because that moves the cartographer's role kind of like away. And yeah, you can actually put the next map up if you would, please, Alex, the one with the parcels on there. And for me, it's like, but, you know, if I look at a map like this, and I look at the topographical map, and I am somebody that loves cartography. If any, you know, if you guys have been following this and everything like that, you know that I'm a nut. This map that you're looking at right now is a map that was commissioned. I've been commissioned to kind of like make into a fantasy style map for a client that is on the Selene server.
Oh, you mean
in
the one
fact,
you just mentioned?
oh, is that you? Is that you there, Sidon? That might be him. You're going to get a little bit of a thing. I'm actually very, very close. If you go to the next image, the fantasy image there, but you can see it's very difficult to tell exactly what falls in each parcel there, right? This is actually my fantasy version of that map that you saw right there, and you know, which is fine. It's as accurate or as inaccurate as the map that we had just looked at. Hey, Sidon, you're now getting a good detailed view of your map, and you can see I'm almost finished with it. I need to put in the a couple of waterfalls and a couple of other details, and we'll have that map to you in a day or two now. And so it's, if we now move to the next image, please, Alex. So, but what you're going to be able to see here is that you can now pinpoint, you know, what is in each parcel here. You're going to be able to tell, oh, hey, I want to have that mountaintop, right? Because I want to build a fortress on top of the mountaintop. So I know I need to get, you know, this and this and this and this parcel, which we couldn't get before, which I think is a benefit, okay? I prefer this map to the fantasy style map. So, you know, don't get me wrong on this. And we can do that, if you can do the final image as well, please, Alex. But when we can, you know, we're gamers. We're going to metagame all of this shit. We are going to zoom in and we are going to analyze the color of each pixel in every parcel, and we're going to be able to tell whether that's grassland,
we haven't
or
done that before.
Forests, yeah, etc., etc. This is what we do because we want to have an advantage, right? So my only issue, and I would say that for me it is an issue and it is a complaint, is that the people that are going to be choosing under Settlers of Elyria are going to be choosing with the benefit of this kind of information, which for me is way more specific than the information that the rest of us had to make when we were using the fantasy style map. So what I would like to have seen is I would like for them not to have delayed, because it's like they're almost like saying, oh, we're ready to go, we've got everything fixed, but we want a better situation for you, so this is the style the map's going to be in. I would rather that they finished off Settlers of Elyria with the fantasy style so that everybody got to pick on an even playing field. This is my big beef with when they had us pick kingdoms blind and then changed everything around on us. And then
like they
after
made a
Settlers
change
of
that wasn't
Elyria
asked
was
for.
done, would be to come out and say, by the way, guys, here's a new this is a map now that everybody can see, and you can now see specifically what's going to be in your domain. But having half the population pick under kind of like basically one set of visual information, and having other people pick with a far more informed thing, to me, it's wrong, and again, maybe I'm wrong on that, but to me, it kind of, I find it upsetting,
Finn with another great comment here said a large portion of the DSS delay was due to them trying to stylize the map instead of just going for a more satellite view like this. Yet now we have wasted the time spent stylizing it and are wasting more time unstylizing it.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I like the fact that it's not stylized, don't get me wrong. But I can assure you, I'm going to be using that GeoNav satellite map when I'm trying to orient myself in game over any hand-drawn map that can be produced, because it's going to be dead accurate right down to the parcel. Whereas somebody who hand draws, including myself, somebody who hand draws something in, it can be off by a little.
Brian asked if there's a forum post explaining Settlers of Elyria. There was a recent forum post in the last couple of weeks that we're talking about now that explains some of the things that they've changed, the improvements that they've made to the maps themselves, but no word as to details of when that's going to be starting up again. Unfortunately, hurry up.
So Unfettered made the comment, kind of said that everybody prefers satellite maps, but we've had satellite maps in other games before. The people still go and do scouting and mapping though, because they're not doing it to find out what the topographical information is. They're going to find out about information on other players or unique things. That's what they go to do cartography.
They'll be prospecting. They'll be prospecting for resources, because we don't know, where iron is going to be, etc., etc. So it doesn't totally render the cartography thing, but it's a separate skill to be a prospector anyway, right?
You're not going to have trails on those maps. You're not going to have freshwater sources on those maps.
Things that
you're going to need to.
I'm going to point at Life is Feudal. Life is Feudal had a satellite map like this, but I still spent so much time doing mapping because I was mapping where people were. I was mapping where unique things were. And the same thing goes for Atlas. Like, you spend time sailing around looking for discovery points and scouting people. It's not necessarily about, oh shoot, how do I get out of this valley? Do I go left or do I go right? Because now I'm bored and lost, and this is not helping me find any content.
For me, what's going to happen there, though, Ren, is that as somebody who does a lot of cartography and loves gathering that kind of information, I love doing that in game, I'm going to be superimposing that information on the satellite map, not on a hand-drawn map that might be inaccurate to start with.
I mean, it is important, like, to know where the capital is and to wait until somebody does that in game. And who's to say that there are not like NPCs that haven't already done this? Because it's not like we're starting from scratch in a world where we're the first characters in there. No, there's generations and generations of history. So that is not a new thing. Having an accurate map for geography is not something I'm opposed to, because I would be very upset if I was like, all right, I guess I gotta go explore the entire world to figure out where my friend is. Shit.
Yeah, my thing is, and again, Finn's made another good comment here, but my issue here, and I kind of like, I want to make sure that it's understood. My issue isn't the fact that we're going stylized or not stylized, or we're going stylized versus kind of like satellite map. My major beef currently at the moment is that many of us picked without the benefit of it being stylized. Now, maybe many of us wouldn't have changed our picks anyway and stayed with our picks. But the fact is that it's kind of like we were sold on the fact. They told us, hey, this is how it's going to be, and these are the reasons why it's going to be. And now they've done a total 180 and said, well, no, now we're going to go with this, which is what you guys had kind of like wanted all before, and we told you we weren't going to do. And it's, I don't know.
They've got to stop changing shit mid swing, right? So as baseball, softball season is coming up, so my kids are all interested in baseball and softball. So you guys stop changing it up mid swing. Like once you cock back and you turn it loose, you got to follow through, right, all the way through. If you whiff it, you whiff it. But what we're seeing here is they're coming through and they're stopping half chalked, and they're not following through. They're not even attempting to hit the ball because they pull into it and they realize they want to change something, and that change is going to affect those people that have already jumped on and got into that event early. And so they stop it, and it's broken. They're going to fix it and improve it. And this is not the first time that something has come along where they improved it, right? They scrapped it, they improved it, and we have to wait for that improvement. Once you start an event, first of all, make sure it's ready to go before you start it. Once you start an event, see it through to the end. Then if you want to pretty up things later after the fact, we'll all appreciate that.
Those are very weird and probably unnecessary rework. And I'm going to contribute that to they didn't have their requirements for this section outlined. They didn't say this is what's important, this is what's critical. And so they're kind of like going back and forth on what they need to do for this to get. And I think that has been kind of a problem going along, is they just need to focus on what the critical requirements are, not change them.
Yep, putting checks in a box.
Yep. Well, let's move on this, because again, it's not my goal to harp on it or anything like that, but rather to kind of like to just point out some of the inconsistency, and
when do we get the full map? That's what I want to know, so I can play with it. Or
well,
did we already get it?
Soon they said.
TM.
Yeah, exactly. Anyhow, you can move on to Ren. You're up next with the Minecraft thing that they made on the Celine.
Yes, if you could be ever so kind as to put up the post. This was posted by MC Gammerhaven.
Gammerhaven.
Addressed to MC Gammerhaven by Elliot Niesbros. I'm massacring these names. Names are hard.
Ellison Roses, former moderator.
Okay. Ellison Rose. I decided during the wait for COE to make something in Minecraft. This was the starting point. It was a map of Gammerhaven, the main city of the county of Dorne in the duchy of in the kingdom of Trier. All names are hard. It was created in ink art by Duchess Elitane Van. This is troublesome. Vandergudden. This was a trick. I feel like this was a test and I didn't pass it.
You got set up.
That's why you gave it to me. Damn it.
Mission accomplished.
Some years ago, before the release of SBS's map. And then she goes on to show us all of this. Like, she built out a city in Minecraft, which is always so cool. So you can actually like go through it. And I think Minecraft is really, really good. I think in a lot of cases, because it lets you do pixels, because Minecraft, each block is a meter and a parcel is 16 meters, so they could do it exactly and plan out your city block by block, which is probably more actual like than the actual planning you'll get in COE. But I didn't even think about that, using Minecraft to like plan like city building.
But you see, they're flying. They're flying around, so they're clearly using creative mode, and I'm far less impressed now, obviously.
Well, okay, like she built an entire like county in Minecraft, and she's got these. She did it by parcels, this art, and it's just like, and now she probably hooked it up to like the real map, and that's so cool. And now I want to play Minecraft. Thank you.
But now what you got to do is you got to take that and download Minecraft Earth on your phone and put that map in augmented reality on your floor in your living room and play with it that way. That's what I've been doing the last couple of days.
So
Is that-
Legos is what you're telling me. Go get
No,
the-
Minecraft Earth.
I know. Now
It's
we
like
have to-
Pokemon Go, but they have an augmented reality version of it too. So you can walk around your neighborhood and lose 10 pounds gathering resources, and then come back and sit in your living room floor, and then you have an augmented reality version of a Minecraft map in front of you.
That's really cool.
It's disgusting, but that's what me and all my kids have been doing the last couple of days.
I just thought that it was a very, very neat.
That is so cool.
Even if it was done in creative mode, it was nice to see sections of the community still, passionately doing stuff, for their community and community related kind of thing. It's not all bleak out there kind of thing. But it's almost kind of, and this literally just popped into my mind. It's almost kind of sad that more content, in some regards, at least visible, showable content, the more content is being created by the community than by the studio kind of thing.
Yeah, it's that lockdown on what we can see from the studio, though.
Maybe we should start re-releasing some of our older episodes of the BBC, back in the good times, back when, Caspian used to come on the show and stuff. Maybe we just skip in 2 weeks. We don't actually do a stream. We just start rehashing some of our old content. Should we do that?
No, not gonna happen. Sorry.
We'll invite Caspian again. He'll totally show up, right? We'll pre-script our interview questions.
He's jaded. We've collectively on here probably spent $30,000 to support his project, but D being the bulk of that. But yeah, we're terrible customers.
I think we should ask Caspian to come play Minecraft with us.
The fuck are you thinking, dude? We're here every 2 weeks. We may not be saying exactly what you want to say, but we're still supporting what you're doing, despite all the dumb shit. Whatever.
And then there was. We don't have any memes. I didn't have time to make an animated thing.
I don't think there was any memes the last couple of weeks, D. I think Reddit got shut down. I don't know. Somebody's going to sue me for saying that. No.
So
I think
in
there hasn't
closing,
been much
before we sign,
activity on Reddit. That we'll just say that. I haven't seen too many memes.
In lieu of a meme, Alec, if you can put up the first one about the guy that thought he missed Settlers of Elyria. And this is a guy here that he's been a member of the community since October 2016. He says took a break from the internet back in October, and I ended up missing Settlers of Elyria by just a little over a week, and all the territories I wanted are still up for sale. Talk about some poor luck. This poor bastard didn't realize what a fail it was. So if you can put up the punchline that Tulloch wrote up on there, I thought it was very witty. He says, "Don't worry, SBS missed it too."
Tulloch is number one enemy of the state right now. We shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be spreading his propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
Very clever.
Wait, is this not just all
I thought
propaganda?
that was very funny.
What?
Now.
No, it was very witty. I agree with you, D. That made me belly laugh.
Yep.
So it was good shit.
Yeah. It was very short and sweet and to the point and couldn't be refuted. It was the truth.
I mean, at some point you think SBS has to look at some of this shit and just laugh too, like these fucking assholes, right? I hope so. I hope they're not taking everything I say personally, because that's not the if it stings a little bit, if it hurts, fucking if the shoe fits, wear it, but I'm I don't know, like some of this shit you just have to laugh at, right? And because we're laughing at it, we're part of the problem. No, we're not. We're just recognizing how fucking stupid shit is.
It's our way of dealing with it.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay,
Alrighty.
COE stream. It's fine.
Yep. That pretty much brings us to the end of our stream for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. And hopefully we'll have, we'll be going over whatever other threads have come up and whatever, what we're trying to do is take content that is happening on the site. And even if for right now it's a matter of just going over the threads and the shinies, I'm going to be interested to see what shiny they do come out with this Thursday, because I'm sure that meeting that kept them from kind of like approving a shiny for this week, I hope that meeting isn't still going on, and that that there's something kick-ass as a shiny on Thursday. And we'll be recapping those. There should be 2 shinies before the next show. And
we get backlog shinies.
Go over them.
They're going to release a major update as soon as the stream shuts down.
Absolutely.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. You got a major update coming from SBS. Hang in there. Right. Coming soon.
Thank you, everybody, and see you in 2 weeks' time.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.